بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعه وله وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد, as we promised, inshallah, the first few minutes we will talk about how beautiful is the Quran, the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I always emphasize on the idea of changing how you think, how you approach things, as we were talking about changing your frame of mind of things. SubhanAllah, I found this a very, very powerful tool. It is called reframing. You know, have a frame. This is a frame right here, right? Consider this as a frame here, okay? So you're seeing through it something. Now, every time I'm going to add something to you, you're going to start seeing different stuff. You want to do the experiment? You want to do the experiment? All right, so consider this like a frame now, right? Dr. Arsalan, what do you see?
Glass.
What, you see anything through it?
Chandelier.
What else?
Person, frame.
Okay. How about you?
Like chairs?
Sister?
I can only see the reflection, I don't see through it. I can see the shelf through it.
Very good. Right? Now I want you to focus how dark is the frame. I want you to focus how dark is the frame. And I want you to focus on the shade of the glass. Right? Now what you see?
It's not completely transparent.
Okay. What do you see now?
I see the sisters with the
You
glass.
see, what I'm trying to say here, every time I'm going to add a detail for you, this frame is going to mean something different. Right? Someone come and now she starts focusing on that this frame, I'm supposed to see things clearly, but I'm seeing the shade reflection. Right? Because her frame of mind, every frame I have to see through it something clear. And now she picked what she's missing. Yes?
Yes.
Now you, on the other side, you're a detailed person. So you focus on something that attracts the attention, which is a chandelier here. So the frame means something for you. Now, I wanted to reframe, I wanted to add something else, something different. So chandelier is not the first thing you look at. And I wanted to add something different for you, so the negative is not, what you're missing is not the first thing. You can start seeing other things. You understand me?
Yes.
So everybody look at the Quran differently. Why you find some people, they are like you and me, they have same eyes. And why you find people that, subhanAllah, they start memorizing the Quran and they will never stop until they finish memorizing it. And sometimes they finish in 6 months or a year. The way they're looking at it is different from other people. When they imsak al-mushaf, they're looking at the mushaf, they're not taking it as a challenge. They're not taking it as a challenge. Because once you look at this frame as a challenge, then your mind will make a plan to memorize the Quran. But it's a challenge. It's a challenge that you're trying to beat, that you're trying to accomplish. But someone else, it is an enjoyment. Right? I'm enjoying it. So it's an enjoyment experience. Both of them memorize, both of them maybe finished at the same time, but one enjoyed all this experience, and one is like taking it as a challenge. Yes, we'll do like this at the end. And the other one is saying, yeah, this challenged person, when they finish the Quran, they will do what? Yeah, I accomplished. While the other one said, wow, what an experience. You get it, right? So when I start the Salah, oh, 10 minutes, I can finish it. Allahu Akbar. That's a frame. So Salah will start according to this frame of 10 minutes and then finish on the same note and, oh, Alhamdulillah, I finished my Salah. Back to work. Right? While someone else, while they are making the wudu, they are getting ready. And when they start the Salah, breathing. Then you know, Subhanakallah. Subhanakallah wa hamd. Tabarak asmak. Ta'ala jannah. ولا إله غيرك أعوذ بالله من الشيطان بسم الله. See the Salah? What is this person doing here?
Enjoying yourself.
He's enjoying it.
Enjoying.
And when you enjoy something, you want to stretch it. Okay? You go to the gym, you find some people like this, right? Correct?
Yes.
But you find someone is sitting there and stretching like. You see? Two people, they care about their body. Each one of them looking for health. Each one of them found the gem. But each one of them is doing things differently. I hope you are getting it, right? So now when we're studying an Amthal for Qur'an, you have to decide. Okay? I'm going to finish the course. I want to take the ijazah. Okay, a few weeks, we need to get over this, right? Then your frame of mind is going to decide too many things. Okay? But if you say, all right, I'm going to enjoy this, right? I really wanted to enjoy this. So next time when I'm reading the Quran or I'm listening to the Quran, I want to understand. So it's different. That's why Allah Azza wa Jal, when we read the Quran, and I'm going to finish with that point before we start in the book. When Allah Azza wa Jal talks about Quran, in the Quran, you find that it's different aspects. That's why I tell my students all the time, whenever you want to find some keys for a subject, find all the ayat speaking about it. So make this as a project for you. At least say, I'm going to read the whole Quran, inshallah. Do that, project in your head. I'm going to read the whole Quran with the intention of finding the description of the Quran. Now, if you have a frame of mind of just getting the ayat, you're going to go Google it. Just get it there before you leave today, right? All ayat speaking about the Quran, boom, 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 copy, cut, paste, here you go, Sheikh. If that's what you want to do, you're going to do it in 5 minutes or less. But why I told you to read the whole Quran to get that?
Enjoy.
So the whole point is not just to get that. The whole point is the experience. Is what? Experience. Why? Because when you are reading, you are in a certain mode. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. You read Surah Al-Fatiha. What is the basic thing of Surah Al-Fatiha asking? Asking Allah for guidance. Then comes Surah Al-Baqarah. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. First ayah. You write it down. Okay? So now you are relating this, your experience. Computer is not going to give you that experience, that feeling, finding it with your eyes, picking it out and writing it. Computer is not going to give you that feeling that you achieved it, right? It's part of a page, it pops out, it speaks to you. Then you go in. And then you'll see, وَالْقُرْآنِ الْمُبِينِ قُرْآنِ الْحَكِيمِ هُدًى وَرَحْمَةً رُوحًا مِنْ أَمْرِنَا. You know, you see the Quran and you will find that Allah Azza wa Jalla is speaking about the Quran. Who sent it? Allah Aziz. Allah is Hakim. Hakim, Khabir, Al-Hamid. You know, the one who revealed the Quran. Then who receives the Quran? Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Who carried the Quran? Jibreel alayhi salam. So that's one aspect of the source, the recipient, and the carrier. That's one aspect of Quran, right? In the Quran. Then the Quran itself is guidance, is mercy, is light, it's the soul, and so on and so on. The description of the Quran, you make a list. Then the purpose of the Quran, to guide people, to differentiate between right and wrong, to warn the disbelievers, to give glad tidings to the believers. And then you can find a project for the brothers, that's a khutbah for 1 year. That's a frame of mind right there, right? So while you are doing this, you can find things coming out. So this is your project. Subhanallah, I can speak about this for 50 khutbahs. Each one of those is one khutbah, right? And then you go and read this. For the sisters, that can be a project for a halqa. You know, I can speak about this as a fertile project, a fertile ground for me to speak to teenage girls, for younger sisters, and talk to them and make them love the Quran, and so on and so forth, right? So this is our few minutes of bonding with the Quran. Now, the book that we are going to be covering is a book of one of the great Imams, Imam Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah, rahimahullah. I am not going to spend much time in talking about him, but he's a great scholar of al-Islam in the middle 6th, 7th centuries of Hijrah, and he's a student of Ibn Taymiyyah. He's a student of Ibn Taymiyyah. Subhanallah, you know a great teacher from a great student, and you know a great student from a great teacher. So both of them, they kind of lead to each other, right? So, the ni'mah of Allah Azza wa Jal on a teacher is to have good students. And the ni'mah of a student is to find a good teacher who take you from one step to the higher step. The ni'mah from Rabb al-Alameen is to find someone who takes your hand like a baby steps, teach you how to crawl, then how to stand, how to walk, how to run, how to achieve championship at the end. This is called Alim Rabbani. Alimun Rabbani. Rabbani means the one who is raising the people, like Abdullah ibn Abbas said, بصغار العلم قبل كبارها, with the small aspects of knowledge, and it takes you one step at a time. It's like someone teaching 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4, and then you know multiplications. Then after that, it takes you until you go astrophysics at the end. Right? So just like that. And the science tells you little things until you become like a scientist at the end, and so on and so forth. So yeah, so this is the knowledge is the same exactly. So Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn al-Qayyim. Do you see someone like Ibn Taymiyyah? All his graduates, they are known names. Imam al-Dhahabi, Ibn Kathir of the Tafsir, Ibn al-Qayyim, those were students of Ibn Taymiyyah. So Ibn Taymiyyah produced some students in the history, not any students. And that tells you the ni'mah of Allah when Allah bless you with a good teacher, and the ni'mah of the teacher when Allah bless them with students. Nobody is favoring the other. Both of them are ni'mah from Allah Azza wa Jalla on each other, right? On each other. And that's why, subhanAllah, many imams in our history, their knowledge was gone. Why? Because they did not have students who carried that knowledge to the next generation. You know why the 4 madhahib in fiqh, they are the ones who are 4 madhahib? They were not only 4 madhahib. There was many madhahib at that time. Imam al-Tabari, the Mufassir, he has a madhab of his own. His madhab, Imam al-Bukhari but he would take a hadith from him, would he not take the fiqh? Right? Yeah, Imam al-Shafi'i, for example. You know that he was a student of qira'at. He has a qira'ah. It's called qira'at al-Shafi'i an Ibn Kathir. Ibn Kathir, not the Mufassir, but there is Ibn Kathir al-Makki, who is from the Tabi'een, who was like the Imam of the Haram al-Makki, and he has one of the 10 qira'at. You have 10 qira'at of the Quran. One of them is qira'at Ibn Kathir al-Makki. From his students, they have 2 narrators, but there is a 3rd narrator who is the Imam al-Shafi'i. But nobody took the qira'at from Shafi'i, everybody took fiqh only. Right? Imam Malik also has a qira'ah from Nafi'. We know Warsh an Nafi'. We know Qalun an Nafi'. There is Malik an Nafi'. He has 2 Nafi'as, teachers. One muhaddith and one qari'. Nafi' al-Qari' al-Madani wa Nafi' al-Muhaddith an Abdullah ibn Umar. Everybody took this one, but did not take this one. The point I'm trying to make here is what? It's a blessing of Allah Azza wa Jalla when a teacher is specialized in something and someone carries that. Right? So people carried the madhab of Abu Hanifa rahimahullah. People carried the madhab of Imam Malik. People carried the madhab of Ahmad. People carried the madhab of Shafi'i. But they were contemporaries. They had contemporaries. There was madhab al-Thawri, madhab al-Awza'i fi Sham, Syria and all that. There was madhab al-Awza'i. At the same time, contemporary. People in the Sham were not following Malik or Abu Hanifa. They were following al-Awza'i. People were following in Al-Kufa Imam al-Thawri. Imam al-Thawri, all his madhab, had about 11 mas'ala different from the Hanafi madhab. Only 11. Imam al-Thawri. Sufyan al-Thawri. Sufyan al-Thawri, al-Muhaddith al-Kabir. But people took hadith only from him. And he was before Abu Hanifa. Everything Abu Hanifa said, Imam al-Thawri said already.
Except for 11.
Except for 11 mas'ala only. But people took from Abu Hanifa. Why? Because he had students committed. That is the point I'm trying to drive here. He has what? Committed students. Now in our time now, what makes any business successful? Committed customers. What makes any website good? Committed people, right? What make a lecture successful? Committed people attending the series. What make an institute? Maybe another institute providing more knowledge. But this one has something that people got committed. So the whole idea is to prove that, subhanAllah, they were committed students who lived with Ibn Taymiyyah until he died. They were there just to get the ocean of knowledge, right, as much as they can. That's why when he died, subhanAllah, his knowledge never died. Right? They carried. So Ibn al-Qayyim, it's enough to say about Ibn al-Qayyim that subhanAllah. And he wrote many books, and all those books, and that's another ni'mah from Allah Azza wa Jalla. When the tawfiq of Allah comes to a sincere, knowledgeable person, alim, every word that they write, someone benefit from it. How many of us do not know the name of Imam al-Nawawi? 40 hadith. Just say the word 40 hadith. Subhanallah al-Azim, the ulama telling us that Imam al-Nawawi, one of the unique scholars, regardless of your madhab, or your maslak, or your manhaj, everybody agrees on Imam al-Nawawi as an authority in fiqh and hadith. Doesn't matter whether you are this side or that side, whether you're right or left or this or that, everybody likes 40 hadith. Sah?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it, shows you. And Imam al-Nawawi did not pass 40 years old there. He didn't go more than that. And he did all what he did. So every word Ibn al-Qayyim wrote, subhanAllah, it became a paradigm, like a main idea. He wrote many books, and all, especially his books of Tahzib al-Nafs, of purifying oneself, of purifying the heart. They are books. And anybody who wants purification of the heart and he does not read the books of Ibn al-Qayyim, he didn't read anything, basically. Right? Yeah, he had that book, I don't know if it's translated or not, the Madarij al-Salikin. Madarij al-Salikin means the steps of the people in the path, people who are going to Allah, toward Allah. It's like you are going from one step to the other, ascending in this, in this path, ascending. And all of it, 4 volumes, to explain إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. Just that. He said, to believe in this word is actually the whole thing. This is your life. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ and إِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. You worship Allah and you seek His help in all your efforts. And He take you one step at a time. In our book here, he writes, it's a very small book, by the way, in Arabic. Risala Saghira, it's not a big, huge one. And it is about the power of parables on the Qur'an. Parables of Amthal. Amthal is plural of Mathal. Just briefly, sometimes you have a simple Mathal. This chair is like such and such. What I'm trying to say, I'm trying to relate something to you. Subhanallah, this person is like an ocean. Means it's generous or knowledgeable. Like ocean is like an abundant. Lots of water, lots of things is huge, right? So when you are trying to relate that person to them, it's very easy. That's basit, Mathal basit. It's very simple, right? So the people who carry the knowledge and they don't benefit from it, like a donkey that carrying books and does not benefit from it. You can get the idea, right? Yes? Now there is a Mathal which is compound. It has more details. Like those who spend in the cause of Allah, like those who plant a seed, and that seed brings, 7 years, and each one has 100. So that's a complicated method here. So what are you going to do? You're going to take the 2 concepts that Allah Azza wa Jal is relating to each other. And then you try to dissect all the parts of it, all the components. Meaning, all right, here is spending, and here is planting, right? Planting a seed is like giving $1, right? Now that seed grows, the benefit of that $1 grows, okay? You see now? This part equals that part. So now Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned the concept, but then what the parable He is giving, He gives details. So what you're supposed to do? Find the details to relate to these details. Okay? Another example. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, this knowledge or this deen is like rain coming. So a valley filled with that rain. And that rain started becoming in abundance, flooding over. Now there is foam, the foam that comes, the bubbles and foam over the rain, and it goes away. And whatever benefiting stays, then the plants started coming. That's an example, right? For what? For receiving the knowledge. Then these details here, you have to match it with other details, and then you will get the lesson. You see now the example, what Amthal in the Quran means? And Ibn al-Qayyim is giving us this kind of idea and letting us on our own, to understand. So, he's saying, as we mentioned last time, that Allah Azza wa Jalla talked about the believers in the Qur'an, in the Surah Al-Baqarah, and then after that about the disbelievers and about the hypocrites. And after he talked about the hypocrites, he gave two examples, one with water and one with fire. I told you that before, right? Last time he said, you know, in the Quran always the amthal, you will find, as we will see today, from two different surahs, Surah Al-Baqarah and Surah Al-Ra'd, one fire and one the water. Now, what are the characteristics of water? وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. So water, everything, life comes out of it. So it's the source of life. But people can drown. So if it increases, you know, or if it is abused or not used properly, it can drown. If you don't know how to swim, you'll drown. You'll be in trouble. Okay, so this is water. Also water brings plants, you know, makes the land fertile. Fertile land. So the water also have those indications. And what about the characteristic of the fire? Heat. It burns, it cooks, it gives light. You know, if it's a dark place, you have a fire, then it will show you around. You are cold, it will warm you. You need to cook something, it will help you. But if you put your finger there, it will burn it. Right? And if you don't use it right, it will destroy you around. So these are the characteristics of the fire. So whenever you see water, first thing, you need to remember the characteristics of water. All right? What water does, the positive and the negative. When the fire comes, you have to understand what characteristic. That's number one. Number two, you have to see whom Allah is speaking about. All right? And number three, and their characteristic too. Like if Allah is speaking about the munafiqeen, He gave us already details. When they were told to do this, they will say this. And when they sit with the believers, they cheat. When, you know, they give you the characteristics. So now, I know the characteristics of fire, and I know the characteristic of the hypocrites. Right? I know the characteristics of water, and I know the characteristics of hypocrites. So now, I move to the next step of analyzing the parable or the example and seeing the match. And then I understand. And that's why this portrait I told you about last time. Right? So you are, you know, right, you're drawing a portrait. And then the last of it, you check yourself. Am I like that? Do I know somebody like that? And if I do, how can I change that? How can I be safe from this? Because now you know. You avoid, right? You avoid. Now you know. When you start driving, then you hit the car one time, you scratch the car one time, but this you learn, right? And that experience, you kind of sense the danger even before. You see the freeway congested, you just take the detour. Why? Because it's too many experience. You already went through this before. I know now if I go to the freeway at this time, I know it's 2 hours. Okay? So I maybe take a longer route, but it is 1 hour only. Yes. So now this experience adds to that. So the mithal is for us to learn. Don't never forget that. One of the big, how should I say this, big hurdles or something that prevents people from benefiting from the amthal of the Qur'an is excluding oneself from negative and attributing positive to oneself. Meaning, like when a janazah passes, when the janazah comes, you kind of like you look at the people and they have a scenario for each person's janazah, but you never have one for you. Okay? So when we see a janazah, then you remember all the sick people in your family, all the old people in your family. You kind of, you know, what's going to happen. And sometimes it makes you cry even, if I lose that dear person. But about yourself? Have you imagined like I am there and I am the one who's there? It's kind of hard to do. So whenever you read in the Qur'an, الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا الْمُنَافِقِينَ إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ فِي الدَّرْكِ الْأَسْفَلِ, it's not me, it's someone else. And that's a mushkila. That's a big, huge problem, right? To benefit from Qur'an in general and amthal in particular, you have to know that this can be me. Even it's not me, alhamdulillah, it's not me, right? But
Check.
it can be me. I don't want that fitna. That's why Rasulullah used to seek refuge in Allah from all the fitna. And he said, Ya Allah, the one who changes the heart, keep my heart firm. Why he's saying that? He's a prophet, guaranteed, right? Ghafir lahu, everything. But he still said, Ya Allah, you're the one who can switch the hearts. Ya Allah, keep my heart firm in your deen. How about me and you? So whenever you have that mithal, to benefit from it, you need to accuse yourself and feel like that. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, radiallahu anhu, he said the disobedience or the sin for a believer, even it's minor, for a believer is like a person sitting under a mountain, like at the foot of a mountain. There's a mountain behind me, and I'm sitting under there, and I'm afraid that that mountain will crumble over my head. That's what a sin is for a believer. You see the image here, mithal, we're talking about amthal, right? So imagery here is very powerful for us as humans, and Qur'an is using that. I want you to understand this. When you're teaching the kids, the power of image is amazing in the Qur'an. So the Sahaba understood that very well. So they bring those images as well. He said, for a believer, the sin is like a mountain about to crumble on his or her head. So even if it's small, I'm not saying, is it major sin or minor sin? It's minor sin. It's all right. You know, someone come and ask, why you are doing this? Sheikh, is it haram or makruh? Oh, it's makruh. It's all right. I thought it's haram, man. What does that mean? Like makruh, as if it is, I'm giving you a green light to do it because it is makruh? Right. Where is your head? Right? And then someone said, why are you not doing that? Why aren't you doing this, my brother? Is it fard? I said, no, it is sunnah. Alhamdulillah, it's all right. Sunnah means not to do, and makruh means to do. Again, a frame of mind thing, right?
Wow.
So Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said, no, a believer, he cares about his relationship with Allah. It's not how big is the sin or how small it is. لا تنظر إلى صغر الذنب ولكن انظر إلى عظم من تعصي. Yani don't look to how small is the sin, look how big is the one you disobeying. You see, reframing here. Yani see how big is Allah, don't see how small is the sin. Yes? So a believer, the sin is like a mountain. How about a hypocrite? May Allah save us all.
Amen.
He said like a fly passing over his nose, he does this and this. A major sin for a hypocrite is like, no big deal. It's all right. But a small sin for a believer is like a mountain. So this is the power of al-amthal. So he is telling us here, Allah Azza wa Jalla says about the munafiqeen, مثلهم كمثل الذي استوقد نارا, which we explained the last time. That their example is example like the one who seek the lighting and all of that. So that's the light of Iman when they mix with the believers. Right? When they mix with the believers, that is the light. But then subhanallah, they did not benefit from that light, so the light went away. And by them, hiding the kufr and showing the Islam. Also, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them the water example. So we talked about the fire example last time. Water example. كصيب أو كصيب من السماء. صيب يعني أصاب يصيب, something targeting. يعني water coming at them, rain coming from heaven at them. But it has ظلمات ورعد وبرق. ظلمات, رعد, and برق. Darkness, thunder, and lightning. See darkness, you're not able to, and you're afraid. It's not only because when you're not able to see, what happens now? You don't know. That's why when the kids or the youth or teenagers go to this, those rooms that they make in Halloween, they scare you. What they call the haunted houses. The main issue in the haunted house is what? You don't know what's going to happen, right? So it is dark, and you don't know what. So your mind plays all kind of tricks on you. So you don't know it's going to come from back, from front. I don't know. And what's going to happen? Somebody slap me or somebody stab me? What's going to happen? I don't know. So dhulumat. That is the background. Wara'ad, that is the audio part. Also, it's too much, plus it creates fear as well. You're afraid to lose your hearing, and it is disturbing your mind. It's disturbing your mind. You cannot think straight. وبرق, that's the visual part as well. You know, when the camera flashes in your eyes, you have like 2 seconds of blindness, right? So Allah Azza wa Jalla said, rain, darkness, Ra, and Barq. Now, Ibn al-Qayyim is showing us something amazing here. He said, because their frame of mind was wrong, the Qur'an and the Islam, all the orders and the haram and the do and the don't become for them like Ra'd and Barq, scary for them. Don't drink, don't commit zina, don't do this, don't do that. They feel like kind of too many, like I don't want to hear. You see that, you know, when you tell the kid too many things, they kind of like, I don't want to hear anymore. It's not about what you say is right or wrong anymore. They are not ready for it. They did not submit to Allah. When you submit to Allah, you say, what else? What else? What do I need to do more to please you? What else? You want to do more, right? But if somebody's like, he's not ready, he's not submit their heart, so this rain, instead of planning for him, you know, if somebody like ready, they see the cloud, now they know what's coming, right? They're going to be ra'd, they're going to be darkness, they're going to be this, so I should be ready with my light. I should, you know, when the ra'd comes, when the barq comes, you know, I'm not outside, I'm not, you know, they plan. And then the rain comes in that container, and in the morning I'm going to do the planting and everything. So that's how a believer receives the order of Allah and the ta'alim of Islam. But the munafiq does not. All the orders is coming from everywhere, they hate the religion. That's why Allah Azza wa Jalla says, وَإِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَحْدَهُ اشْمَأَزَّتْ قُلُوبُ الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْآخِرَةِ وَإِذَا ذُكِرَ الَّذِينَ مِن دُونِهِ إِذَا هُمْ يَسْتَبْشِرُونَ. When Allah is mentioned, their hearts like, yeah, what else now? More haram? More orders? Huh? But when, oh, let's talk about this, let's talk about that. Oh yeah, let's talk about fun and Hollywood and, you know, what is the latest fashion and all that. Today I was teaching a class to teenagers. I tell them, tell me what is wrong with this picture. I'm going to tell you a parable here, and they started laughing because I was talking about them, right? So I say, in Ramadan, I lead Salat al-Taraweeh, right? And sometimes one of my assistants lead, you know, I lead the first 8 and then someone. Then I go around and check in the masjid and whatever I'm leading, you know, see what is happening. So I see some guys, I'm sure it's not you, but some guys, right? So some guys, they standing on the door of the masjid, looking at the imam and the people who pray Taraweeh. You see the picture here? So some kids, sometimes adults too, but kids, يعني, they are watching there, they're sitting there, standing there and watching. So, Allahu Akbar, read Surah Al-Fatiha, and they're talking and having fun and playing video games and all that. And the imam reads his page, and once the imam does what? With me. Allahu Akbar. Then they rush and come. They started laughing. I said, let me analyze this for you. Because I want to teach something important here. Right? Now I'm giving them as a picture here, they can relate to it. I said, they were standing, and we are standing. Right? You're talking and moving around, but here you stand quietly. Okay? Now when I made the ruku', what did change here? You're trying not to lose the rak'ah, but you want to do the minimum. You want to do the minimum and get maximum benefit. That's one. Now if you stay like this and you grow up without instruction, that would be the theme of your life as a Muslim in the community. When it comes to Allah, you want to do the minimum, but you want to get what? Maximum. But when it comes to the enjoyment, you want to do the maximum to get the maximum. Right? Those are my friends. I cannot just go and talk to them and run, because I'm not going to enjoy the company. But I'm standing there, and we need to share as much as we can so the experience is enjoyed. But this one is not to be enjoyed. So that's a dangerous one. Also, by doing this, you exerted more effort than if you have joined. He said, how? I said, if you stood with us from the beginning, you would have been standing, not talking, and then you're making ruku' with us and everything. But now you stood there and you ran that distance. You ran, and then you came doing the ruku', and then you exerted yourself, you did not focus, and then everybody's looking at you in a very weird manner, right? I said, this is the same exact thing the adults do. I finished Salat al-Maghrib or Salat al-Isha, and I'm giving a khatira for 5 minutes. 5 minutes only, right? Those who leave for something to do, I understand. No problem. You're going because you need to go home even to rest. That's okay. It's cool. But someone leaves, looks at me, and stands up and moves out of the door of the masjid, then stand there for 1 hour. Talking to somebody else. Or listening to someone else talking. You could have stayed 5 minutes and go 55 minutes. So you benefit from both. You would have listened to your friend and enjoyed to him in the parking lot outside for 1 hour. And that person who left, I swear by Allah, I see most of the time, after I finish the lecture and everything and the question and answer and another question and answer, you know how the imams are, right? Everybody say, quick question, quick question, quick question. And quick question does not mean a quick answer. You know that, right? So not necessarily. Somebody said, quick question. I said, okay, quick question for you, but I don't know how I'm going to do. So what does it mean, quick question anyways? So anyway, I go outside after 1 hour and I see that person who left first is the last one to leave the parking lot.
Yeah.
So that means sleeping now is not important for you. And this is the way we approach things. Ya akhi, listen. What am I saying other than قال الله قال رسوله sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? What else? Do you think I'm going to be saying anything else after the salah except Qur'an says you listen to this in the salah? 5 minutes. But you see the idea, right? We can read a favorite book that just came out, a release, new release, and we spend the week 3-4 hours a day to finish that book. But how many pages of Quran you read per year? Per year. You know, if you read 1 page only in the Quran, 1 page, without even understanding anything, 1 page of the Quran, you will finish the Quran in less than 2 years. 600 pages, 600 days. You know, let's say 300 per year. Take away the holidays or the sick days or whatever, 60 days, 2 months. 10 months out of every year, 10 months here, 10 months here, you finish the whole Quran. You know that if you read 1 hadith per week, 1 hadith of the Prophet ﷺ per week, that's 54 hadith per year. You know, in 10 years, you have 540 hadith. That covers the whole religion. You don't need more than that. Actually, there's plenty. I can guarantee you that 100 hadith can cover all aspects of your life. 100 only hadith. You will find in the salah, you will find in the iman, you will find a hadith talking about actually 5-6 subjects. 1 hadith. Right? So 540 hadith in 10 years of your time. How old are the average here? 20 to 40. This is the average here. We are sitting here today. Average. Good. So 20 years, let's say we started learning when we were 15, started knowing about Allah and the deen and all that. So you are 25 now, that's 10 years. How much you achieved if you write them in a piece of paper? Are you planning for another 10 years? We sit and ask you the same question and you say nothing? You see, very simple ideas, right? Yeah, we can watch the game or the debate of Trump and Hillary for 1 hour, 45 minutes. That's all right. 45 minutes. 1 hour, 45 minutes. There can be some benefit out of that. I'm not putting it as like something completely out. No, you can learn many things. You can learn the behavior, the akhlaq, how people fight. You can learn many things. Forget about it. You learn. Wallahi, even this part here, I can give you a whole lecture of it. I told you time before. Don't accuse the presenter. Even if the presenter is poor presentation, try you as a listener to find a good out of it. Try to learn something. A human being cannot waste his or her life. You cannot waste your life. If somebody is trying to waste your time, you don't allow them. even with the mediocre presentation, you come out and say, that's what a mediocre presentation looks like. So next time, I'm going to make sure it's not like that. You see? So always you have something to benefit out of any experience. That's what Allah teaching us. That's what Rasulullah ﷺ teaching us. Why Allah giving us example of a wing of a mosquito? How many of us even care about a wing of a mosquito? Right? But Allah is bringing those little things that even you don't pay attention to. Magnify them for you. So you feel that you learn from the least of things. Yes. So that is the power of the example in the Qur'an. So now you can listen to that. You can have a football game. And it's amazing for me. It's amazing for me. Last week, a brother and a sister, I'm telling him, why don't come to the halqa that I do in the masjid on such and such day? They said, but this is like the debate time. I stopped for a moment there because, this is not a simple answer for me. I'm a person who reads beyond things, right? So I'm telling you to attend the Salat al-Jama'ah, the masjid, and then listen to a lecture after it. And your reply was what?
The debate.
But this is the debate time. That means debate comes first. That's how I interpret it, right? صلاة جماعة واحدة صلاة جماعة واحدة مقبولة عند الله عز وجل خير من الدنيا وما فيها. يعني maybe this is the salah that will admit you to Jannah. Maybe. That is the one. But you put something else first. You know what the wife replied? The sister? Wallah, an amazing reply. She said, we can record it. Press record and then attend the lecture and then come listen to the debate.
Oh, okay.
What was the reply?
Record the lecture, maybe.
Or record the
Record the lecture.
Or what was the reply? Yeah, we can do that too. But it's not going to be the same.
Oh.
Wow.
You get the point, right? Yeah. Because someone like this. I want you to imagine, and this is a question for everybody listening to this. And I am guilty too. Don't think like everything positive I say, that's Mamdouh, everything negative is you guys. It's like, come on. I'm not a prophet here. Like, I'm guilty of most of the things I say too. And my speech is like addressed to myself to fix as well. Yeah. So I want you to think about it, to put it in perspective here. If you love football, or you love baseball, your favorite game, fill the blank, right? And it is the championship game, the final, right? That you have been a whole season waiting for, and your favorite team is playing, right? And it comes at the Maghrib time. And now you have the option. I go to the masjid, which is 10 minutes away from my home, or I put my favorite jersey of my favorite team and invite my friends, popcorn, barbecue, pizza, all the couch, and I have a theater system in my friend's house, which is the lazy boy seats, and he had like this 100-inch screen, and we can watch the final game live. What's your choice? I don't want you to answer. This is something, let it sink in. If I come there and tell you, let's go to the masjid, you're going to look at me, I know. How? I can see the look now. Now you know why Allah giving amthal in the Quran? You understand, right? Yeah, that is why. That's why. To get our priorities straight. Sometimes you accuse others, but we forget ourselves. You're going to be like this, or you say, oh, this munafiqeen, man, munafiqeen, right? But what is this guy doing here?
Worse.
What is this guy doing here? I remember when we were young, in the middle school, Egypt is about soccer, right? Egypt, Algeria, North Africa, this is soccer people. Football, only Americans. This is your game. But soccer. Football over there, the word football means foot, ball. Ball for the foot. All right, so now they used to have the life between Ahlul Zamalek and this big team. I remember, Allah, I remember this exactly. Now I can relate to it. People watching and they're all excited. Like this, and he's going to bring the goal, and then they sign for Azan al-Asr comes. Oh, everybody hits as an house. Right? They bring adhan, right? They bring what? The adhan, and it's a full adhan, man. So the live broadcast stops, and the full adhan, and they are sitting. What if they bring a goal now? What if this? What if that? Right? And you find everybody's like excited, and when the adhan comes, you see that reaction is spontaneous. But that shows where the adhan is in the ummah, where the salah is in the ummah. Okay? So that's why I'm telling you, bring it home. I give you an example, think about it, don't give an answer. But that's who you are. Right? You have the option now, it is the time for salah. You want to pray jama'ah, or you want to watch it live. Even you have the option of DVR or whatever, recorded. But it's not going to be the same. I tell you, it's not the same. You know why? Because you're going to go pray, and when you're coming back, one of your friends, you say, oh, did you see the score, man? You wanted to see that live. Now he burned it for you. Right? Because the results are there already. It's not the same. Same thing for salah. This salah will not come again, live again, ever. Ever. That salah of that day, today is Sunday, October 23rd, this salat al-maghrib will not come again. The one you prayed. Yeah, you will have another maghrib if you live for tomorrow. And you don't know all the maghrib that you prayed, was it the same with this one or not? Allahu A'lam. This Isha is not going to come again. This is your chance, life. Like that match chance, what? Life. So which life you want? Pun intended, right? Which life you want. So he is telling us that they are afraid from these thunders, they are afraid from the orders of Allah, like they are afraid from the ra'd, or the thunder. When Allah says, this is haram, for them it is like the thunder. They don't want to hear. I don't want to hear. You know, like someone said, I don't want to attend classes because it will make me feel more guilty. Why? Because now I will know what is haram and halal. I said, what is the problem with that? What's the problem with that? Because now I don't know, right? I can do whatever I don't know. But if I come to you, Sheikh Mamdouh, you're going to teach me what is haram. Now I know what is haram, I cannot do it anymore. Can you imagine this? Can you really imagine this? And this is happening. This is happening, you know. They don't want to know because it's going to put more restrictions. And we talk about munafiqeen, someone else, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so, yeah, read Ibn al-Qayyim here. And he give example to those people who innovate in their religion and in the aqidah. He says whenever we talk to them about the ayat and the sifat of Allah, they don't want to hear. They want to have their deviated interpretation. I'm not going to get into that, but I'm just saying how Ibn al-Qayyim relating, right? Says some people, they already interpreted the Quran according to their desire, and they don't want to hear anything else. They don't. They don't want to discuss. You say, you know what? I don't want to discuss. Like, I want to keep what is in my mind, blah, 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 don't tell me anything. You know those kids? You know the kids? When you want to say something, they don't want to hear you. They start saying those sounds. I cannot hear you, like that. Why? A person doing that. What does that mean, my sisters, my brother? What does that mean? They know you have a good argument.
Yeah.
They know if they hear you, they cannot reply because they know you have haqq. So if somebody want to make sure, that is what the kuffar said in the Qur'an. وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَا تَسْمَعُوا لَهَذَا الْقُرْآنِ وَإِيه يعني don't listen to it and make sounds so you don't hear it. لا تسمعوا, don't listen to him and make sure nobody else listens, so make sounds. That's why Rasulullah start reciting or something, they start whistling and clapping and doing those things. Why? Because they know that if they listen, they will be affected. Yes. So the munafiqeen wal-'iyadhu billah is they are like that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says also, when their hearts are not settled, there is no settlement in any orders. When your heart is comfortable, then you listen carefully. That's why they, in psychology or in education, basically, when they train teachers, they say practice active listening. What's active listening? Anybody can tell me? There is listening and there is active listening. What is active listening? Have you heard this before?
Yes.
No? What's active listening?
Listen to understand.
Are you listening to me now or you are actively listening to me now?
Actively.
Doing my best.
What's the difference?
Like you're not having any, like
Huh?
you're not thinking about anything else while you're listening to the person's talking.
Yes. So you're listening to the person and trying to benefit from what they're listening and trying to be in their shoes and trying to sympathize or empathize and trying to see the point. You're looking for the benefit in this. You are not listening to your voice. There is a voice internal, right? That's why somebody was sitting in a meeting, right? And I am talking. And somebody is like, he's actually talking. He is talking, not me. He's quiet, but the voice is in his head talking. So he's not listening to me, right? So that's why I finish, and then he asks a question that I already answered. He was not listening, right? He's hearing the sound, but he's not listening. He's hearing me speaking. But he has something in his head, he cannot be patient. He wants to say his piece. So that's not actively listening. So when the heart is not settled, the ears will not listen. You're looking at the person and saying, you're not seeing them.
Yeah.
You're not seeing them. You know, I was in a meeting a few days ago, and there's someone I know very well. And I know that he's coming to that meeting. So it's not like, and I'm looking everywhere for him, and he's sitting right there in front of me. Why? Because he changed the haircut. He changed what? The haircut. So I am having an idea in my head that's only, if I see that, this is the person. But if that person changes a little detail, I'm not seeing. Right? I'm not seeing. But if I'm actually looking at everybody's face, looking for him, I would have found him. I would have found him. So this is the whole point between hypocrisy and Iman. Clear your heart. Now you know why أعملوا بالنيات, why مخلصين له الدين, why it starts from the heart, why always the Islam talk about the heart. Always, always, always. We can be doing the same exact thing, but we're getting different results. Completely different results. When you are self-centered, you will never be satisfied. If it's all about you, if today's lecture is about my fame, right? If it's about my fame or about scoring high or being recognized and all of that, I'll give the lecture. You will benefit from the lecture, right? But when I go home, I'm exhausted, right? If I don't see what I'm looking for, it doesn't feel good. Why? Because I was looking for a certain feeling out of this lecture. It doesn't come. But if my approach is, I want even one person to grab something that changes their life. One little tiny thing. That they love the Quran. Oh, now, you know, I learned that. Now I'm going to go read the Quran. Or someone takes this idea of one page and read it. Forget about all the information I say in the picture, in the lecture. If that's my approach, then I'm going to give my life for this lecture. Because it's not about me anymore. It's about who benefits from you. So munafiqeen is not like that. A believer is what benefit we get out of this Quran so we can bring this witness to others. That's why Abdullah ibn Mas'ud goes to Iraq, he changes the whole country. Abdullah ibn Abbas goes to Mecca, he becomes a school of Abdullah ibn Abbas. Right? You know, someone goes to Al-Basra, becomes a school in Al-Basra. Someone goes to Egypt, changes the whole culture. One. Why? Because they were studying all their life for what? I want to share this with as many people as possible. What I'm enjoying, I want them to know. I want you guys to love the Quran like I do. Can you feel it? I want you to feel that. I don't want you to repeat the information I'm saying, stacking your head with information. No, that's not the point. The point is to taste the Quran. Even if you understand this book of Ibn al-Qayyim, at least you go to the Quran now, don't take it as a challenge anymore. This is some, you know, these are the words of Allah I want to enjoy. I want to live with it for the rest of my life. Also, inshallah, we'll finish with this example here, next couple of minutes. Again, Allah gave water example, fire example in Surah Ar-Ra'd. In Surah Ar-Ra'd. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أنزل من السماء ماء. That's a clear one, right? أو كصيب من السماء. It has ظلمات ورعد وبرق in Surah Al-Baqarah, right? We explained that and we said how the hypocrites are. Surah Al-Ra'd, Allah Azza wa Jal giving the example in a subtle manner here, right? But you can relate. So he said, Allah anzala min as-sama'i ma'an. We all see rain before. Have you seen rain before? Anybody did not see rain before? You saw rain, right? Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. In different shapes and forms and floods and this and that. So you basically saw it. So what rain is? أنزل من السماء ماء فسالت أودية بقدرها. That's a key word here. بقدرها. Yani there are different valleys, different sizes. You know what's a valley, right? Valley between mountains is a place that can contain water. High place, lower ground, higher place, and the lower ground. So that means a lake can form here. But those valleys are not same sizes. Not the same sizes. Then Allah Azza wa Jal said, this rain is sail. You know, sail means it's overflowing. فَسَالَتْ أَوْدِيَةٌ. Now you have a container. The water is pouring. Container is filling. It's filling. It's filling. Now it reached the brim. You stop, right? Allah Azza wa Jal said, no, it's still coming. So each one, now if you have a small glass 8 ounce, and one 10 ounce, and one 12 ounce, and one 16 ounce, and the rain is coming, what's going to happen? The 8 ounce overflows. Then this one overflows. So each one here have capacity. Have what? Capacity. So that's what Allah Azza wa Jalla said. فَسَالَتْ أَوْدِيَةٌ بِقَدَرِهَا فَاحْتَمَلَ السَّيْلُ الزَّبَدَ الرَّابِيًا. On top of each one there is the foam, the extra, the bubbles. احتمل السيل زبدا رابيا. That is the water part. The other half of the same ayah, fire. وإما يوقدون عليه في النار ابتغاء حلية أو متاع زبد مثله. You see, here is water, filled the container to capacity, and then started, all the foam and all of these things started coming, over. How fire now, people bring gold or silver and put it through fire for what purpose? Purify, right? So to purify, to make the necklaces, the bracelet, and each one have this 24 karat, each one have its own. But there is impurities come from fire, like the foam and the bubbles come over the water, right? وَمِمَّا يُوقِدُونَ عَلَيْهِ فِي النَّارِ ابْتِغَاءَ حِلْيَةٍ. They want the pure gold to make out of it the adornment and the accessories. أو متاع زبد مثله. Foam also. فأما ما ينفع الناس. What benefits people in both cases? فيمكث في الأرض. The heavy stuff, it stays what? Down. فأما الزبد فيذهب جفاء. All the impurities goes away. وأما ما ينفع الناس. What benefits people? فيمكث في الأرض. Then Allah said, كذلك يضرب الله الأمثال. Right? يضرب الحق والباطل فأما الزبد. So Allah Azza wa Jalla giving example for حق and باطل like this. The foam is like batil, and the water that remains is haqq. The impurities in the fire is like the batil, and the gold is like the haqq. So what you get out of this example? That always haqq has batil with it. Comes around, So you have to have the criteria by which you
separate.
Yes. So don't be distracted by what is on the top. Always wait for what comes under. Also, you have to extend your capacity. You don't want to be like a small valley that overflows very fast. You want to have more water. You have to have more water. Because more water means more ground, means more benefit that comes after. You will have the fire. Your iman will be tested, right? Your iman will be tested. If you are a believer, you are the gold. But if it's a hypocrite, it is the impurity. Where does the impurity go? Garbage. Yawm al-Qiyamah, right? Where the gold is, benefit to people. And it is gold. Keeps its value and increases. You see the example here, how you relate? The iman is like gold, the nifaq is like hypocrisy. And the fire is the dunya test. Dunya test shows whether you are gold or not. And what is your degree. And also, this rain is like the knowledge you receive. How big is your container? That's how big the benefit will come out. And all the things, the excess things, جفاء. Once the rain stops, the foam is out and the bubbles out and the rain stays, right? So always you will have the knowledge coming, you'll have many things with it, problems coming with it, but you will filter that right. This is exactly like the guidance and the knowledge. Imam Ibn Qayyim says, when it is mixes with the heart, but then comes with it the lusts and desires. Lusts and desires and doubts. So if your heart is, your container is strong, it will keep only the good things and the lust and desires will overflow, or it will become like the impurities that come out of gold. That's how Allah Azza wa Jal gives the example of haqq and al-batil, subhanallah. So those are two examples, and Ibn al-Qayyim at the end says, if anybody does not benefit from that example, and it does not affect their iman, and they do avoid, they are not from the ahl of this ayat. He said that their iman has a problem. If those examples, after explained, does not affect your life, you be careful which side you are in. Right? So we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to be among those who believers, those believers who benefit from al-amthal of the Qur'an, who benefit from the couple of examples that we give today. And inshallah, next time we will talk about the next section, which is the example of this dunya, the whole dunya. Now we talked about the believer and the hypocrite as recipients for the knowledge and how they react, right? Next time we'll see how Allah Azza wa Jal gives this dunya, all of the dunya with whatever in it, is example of what it is like. And then we'll analyze the example singing. Jazakumullah khairan. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. What time is the Aisha Salah?
In 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Anybody have a comment or question, please?
What's the ayah number in Ar-Ra'd?
In Surah Ar-Ra'd, I think 17, isn't it? Salam? Is it verse 17 in Surah Ar-Ra'd?
Verse number 17.
Yes. So 17. But you know the ayat al-Baqarah, right?
13, 17.
The ayat al-Baqarah 13 to 17?
No, Ra'd.
Ar-Ra'd is 17. Ra'd Surah number 13
Yeah.
and verse number 17. But al-Baqarah Surah number 2 and verse 17 to 20. Also 17.
17 to 20.
Yes? So 17 al-Baqarah, 17 al-Ra'd. So you can remember it that way, inshallah. So those are the two examples. So may Allah Azza wa Jal benefit us. Any input or any questions? Okay. Yes.
So you talked about how there's a hypocrites who, you know, the example you use, how they'll hear it and they'll close their ears and then it moves. So how do you move someone to go from that where they're not receptive to wanting them? Because it's like the example where, you know, you can put the water in front of the horse, but you can't make the horse drink.
Hassan, very good question. And actually, this is what is the whole lecture is about, right? How we change, right? We learn the lesson now. So that's actually the logical question. How can you apply this to someone? You know, when you study, they tell you there's two types of motivation: internal motivation and external motivation, right? So internal motivation has to come within the person. Some people, they are always having, it is like, you know, self-propelled. They have internal motivation. They will make good out of any bad situation. You'll find them having the drive, you know, and they will lighten up any class or any place they go, their internal motivation. But it's a gift. Now, if somebody have that issue, as the brother pointed out, they're lacking the internal motivation. They don't have that drive. They don't feel interest. So you have to work on what? External motivation. That's why Rasulullah ﷺ said you have to look who's your friend. You want to know somebody? Know their friends. Know whom they hang around with. So you try, instead of attacking the person, because they already know they're wrong now, right? So by attacking them and by reprimanding them and, you know, making them, they will run away from you, especially with this material world. So you change the circumstances around them. And you start pointing out the good in them. Everybody has some good in them. You know what? You have that good, that activity, that leadership, this and this and this and this. Let's focus on that. Let's change this. You know, go eat together. You know, do this and do that. But that person has to be careful not to have the reverse, right? The reverse sometimes happens. Though that person has more power than you think. You know they're wrong, they know they're wrong, they need help, but you're not the one who can help. You're weaker than that. So don't get dragged, right? So you have to really find a support system. That's where the Jama'ah classes like this, So you change the external motivation. You find what motivates that person and try to identify the good things that attracts them, and you go from there. You go from their motivation. Work on that. As an example, I told you that example indirectly 2 weeks ago about the youth who listened to one of the presentation about the Qur'an, and they wanted to learn how to read the Qur'an. My intention was not to teach anybody how to read the Qur'an, but when they see that enthusiasm about the Qur'an, they said, I want also to taste this, right? But then there was the right person who make it interesting for them. He said, you know what? Instead of sitting here, everybody looking at you, you're an adult, but you don't know how to read Alif Ba, let's go in the library and do it. Right? Let's go have some ice cream, and after we finish, we're going to go have some ice cream. Or let's go hang around and have some coffee. So you're changing the environment to make it interesting and work on external motivation until the spark comes inside and that person is ready to go. So basically it's changing the environment around. That's why the ulama said if someone, for example, having a bad haram relationship, sometimes it becomes an addiction, right?
Yeah.
They have to move out of that place. They have to move to another town or another city. Because as long as they are close to the source of their addiction, it's going to become a problem. And that shows you the importance of the environment. That's why the people who stop drinking, for example, they need to change the group to those who don't drink. But if they hang around with someone, they will flip, right? What they call it, going back again to the relapse, right? So this is what it is. Now we stop now and we go to the Isha. صلى الله عليه وسلم. جزاكم الله خيرا.
جزاك الله خيرا.